When we talk about the highest court in India, I bet the first thing that pops into your head is the Supreme Court in Delhi, right? But for most of us, the court that really has the biggest, most direct impact on our lives is actually a lot closer to home. So today, let's dive into the surprising and, honestly, the immense power of India's high courts.
So let me just ask you straight up. What do you think is the most powerful judicial body in your state? The answer is so fundamental to how our entire justice system works, and I think you might be in for a surprise.
Because, yeah, the Supreme Court is the final word, but the power that's wielded at the state level, wow, it's immediate, it's massive, and in some really key ways, it's even more far-reaching.
And the answer, of course, is the High Court. But look, it's not just another court on the ladder. It's a foundational pillar of our governance, and it was designed from the ground up to have incredible independence and authority.
This power comes straight from the Constitution. Article 214 says every state needs a high court, but then Article 215 makes it a court of record. Now that sounds technical, but it's a total game changer. It means its decisions become law, they set a precedent, and it means the court can punish anyone for disrespecting its authority. You add that to the fact that judges have job security, and you've got a truly independent force to be reckoned with.
Okay, so all this constitutional stuff, it's not just theory. It has a real, direct impact on your life, on my life, on every citizen's life. The High Court is basically the #1 guardian of your rights, and it has some incredibly powerful tools to get that job done.
And one of its most powerful tools is something called a writ. Just imagine a direct, cannot be ignored order from the High Court. It can tell anyone in the state, a government official, a police department, anyone, to do something or, more importantly, to stop doing something, all to protect a citizen's rights. It's a direct intervention to make sure justice is served, and it's incredibly potent.
And they have a whole toolkit of these things, 5 main types. You've got habeas corpus, which basically says, bring the person to court if they've been detained. Mandamus commands a public official to actually do their job. Certiorari can completely cancel an illegal order. Prohibition stops a legal proceeding in its tracks. And quo warranto, that one questions if someone even has the legal right to hold a public office in the first place.
Now get ready for this, because this is where it gets really interesting. We all know the Supreme Court can issue writs to protect our fundamental rights. But the High Court, under Article 226, can issue writs for fundamental rights and for any other legal right. Think about that for a second. It means a High Court's power to issue these orders is actually wider than the Supreme Court's. Pretty amazing, right?
And that's not all. This ties right into their role as a check on power. High courts have the power of judicial review. They can look at any law passed by the state, or any action taken by the state government, and if it violates the Constitution, bam, they can strike it down. They are the ultimate protectors of the Constitution at the state level.
So, they're the guardians of our rights. What else? Well, for the vast majority of legal fights, the High Court is the end of the road. It's where the buck stops.
I mean, think about how a normal case works. It starts out in a lower court, right? A district court, for example. If someone loses and thinks the decision was wrong, they can appeal to the High Court. The High Court then takes a fresh look at everything. And here's the key. For most civil and criminal cases, whatever the High Court decides, that's it. It's final. This is so important because it keeps every single case from ending up on the Supreme Court's doorstep.
Okay, but the High Court's power isn't just about hearing cases and making judgments. There's this whole other side to it that most of us never even see. They are also the managers of the entire justice system within the state.
And this isn't just some tradition. It's spelled out right there in the Constitution. Article 227 gives the High Court superintendence over every single court and tribunal in its territory. That's a huge responsibility.
And check this out. This is a power of supervision that even the Supreme Court does not have over the high courts. Each high court is the master of its own domain. This really underlines just how autonomous and powerful they are within their own state's judicial system.
So what does this superintendence mean in the real world? Well, it means the High Court literally sets the rules for how all the lower courts operate. It can move a case from one court to another to ensure a fair trial. It inspects how they're performing, and it gives them administrative directions to make sure the whole system is running smoothly and actually delivering justice.
And at the heart of this whole operation is the Chief Justice of the High Court. Think of him as wearing 2 giant hats. With their judicial hat on, they're the master of the roster, deciding which judge hears which case. But with their administrative hat on, they're the head of the entire state judiciary. They oversee everything, from transferring lower court judges to being part of the process that recommends new judges for the High Court itself. This combination of judicial and administrative power makes the Chief Justice an incredibly powerful figure.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. When you put all these pieces together, the constitutional power, the writs being the final court of appeal, and all that administrative control, a really clear picture emerges. The High Court is nothing less than the watchdog of democracy at the state level.
So let's just quickly recap the big picture. High courts are there to protect our fundamental and legal rights. They run the entire judicial machine in a state. They take a massive load off the Supreme Court, and they act as a crucial check against any misuse of power by the state government. They are, without a doubt, absolutely vital for the rule of law in our country.
So, we have established that the High Court is this incredibly powerful watchdog keeping an eye on state power. But that leaves us with one final and really important question, doesn't it? Who watches the watchdog? What is it that ensures the independence of the High Court itself? Well, that's a story for another time.